You also talked about space and silence. So you have talked about increasing space and silence. So can you please describe that how to cultivate more space, especially when we are sitting in this particular era of 2024, where everyone seems to be very, very hectic in their schedule. So how to
Mhm.
cultivate more space in our hectic lives today?
Mm. Again, a very, very good and insightful question, Tamal. And this is something I'm really fond of discussing and fond of, talking about, because as I said, in the strategies for happiness, which I had outlined, one very important thing was space. Now, if we can imagine, suppose if you are staying suppose in a 2 or 3 BHK apartment, because people are residing in a 2 or 3 BHK apartment. And suddenly, if you switch over to a 5 or 6 BHK apartment, you can just imagine and visualize how you'll be feeling, how expansive you'll be feeling. Suddenly there is a lot of space in the house. You have room for everything. Earlier, everything was cluttered together. Here, whether it is your kids, your spouse, your friends, everyone has their own space, their own room. Just visualizing this can help us understand why space is more so important. Now, the same way, this, of course, we are talking about outer space. Within us, there is a space which can always expand. We feel as if sometimes, especially as you said, people live such hectic lives, but sometimes when you feel more expansive and lighter, that is because there is more space created within you. And this is something which can be done by everyone. It just requires a few simple practices. One, of course, is mindfulness, spending time daily, whether it is whatever time you have, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, for some it can be half an hour, but doing it consistently on a daily basis increases the space within you. There is more space between your thoughts. Otherwise thoughts keep on crowding one after the other. Here there seems to be a little more space between your thoughts. There is space between what someone says and the way you react. There's between any stimulus and response, there is space. One very famous quote is there, and that space allows us to respond to people than react. And what happens is, when there is more space, then your emotions also, you can, rather than getting overwhelmed by your emotions, you can kind of observe it, and there is a gap between you and your emotions. And that is why space is important. So mindfulness is one. Mindfulness and meditation for people who are really busy, one very useful way I would suggest, and which I've written, is to create small pauses in your daily lives. You know, Life may be very hectic, but you can always create those 1 or 2 minutes pauses. For example, right now, if people are sitting, for example, I may be in my office, and I often do it in my OPD when it is very busy. For example, today I would say there were around 40 or 50 patients. In between, just after seeing maybe 20, 25 patients, I just closed the door for a minute. I said, I'm just coming back in a minute. And when I was sitting, just you become more present, just maybe one conscious breath in, out, feel your body against a chair, feel your feet, and then come back and resume. What happens is, these small, small pauses, they can help us overcome the mindless and chaotic, chatter in our minds, and prevent us from feeling overwhelmed. So I strongly advocate for people who are very busy, who have very hectic lives, take small pauses. Here I described 1 minute. Sometimes, if you have more time, maybe 5 minutes. In between your work, you can just take more few minutes, just pause. Maybe if you are somewhere near the balcony, you can just look out, just view, use all your senses, view some surroundings. Maybe you just go mindfully, drink a glass of water, or anyway, we have our tea and coffee breaks. You can you know, just sip it mindfully. So these are the ways: taking small pauses, using mindfulness meditation to increase space, silence again. As of course, the best part is if you are able to do your meditation and mindfulness practice, nothing like it. If not also, then in between your, a lot of, there's always some noise. We are filled with information, whether it is the social media, TV, internet. You can just maybe 5 minutes do nothing, sit back and just be silent. Just by being a little silent, by giving your mind that rest, it can help a lot and increase a lot of space. So these are things, especially for people who have very busy lives or who find it very stressful. I would advocate, in that RX, one very
Hmm.
important thing is to create more space and little bit of silence in your lives. That will increase your productivity, your energy, and your overall well-being.
Absolutely, sir.